Sorry? What do you mean?
Sleeping.
Always one in the group.
It needs a bit of WD-40.
It needs WD-40 silicon.
Brilliant. Good evening, everyone, and thank you all for coming. I will start the proceedings for this particular council meeting as it is a special council meeting. It is our first one with our new and returning councillors. So first, I'd like to take this opportunity to congratulate all the councillors that have either been recently elected or re-elected or decided to come back and represent the community. The first thing on the agenda tonight is the affirmation or oath. And I'll just scroll down a little bit further in my report here. So I will now invite councillors in a random order that I decided earlier to stand up with their oath and invite Mr. Ken Shiner, who is our Justice of Peace, and he's going to accept your oath. And then I'll ask you both to, wherever you'd like it, probably we're all on camera, so maybe just over in that corner there.
Councillor.
Next to Councillor, between Councillor O'Neill and Linda. And then if you can sign your oath after that, that'll be fantastic. So up first is Ben Hooper.
I, Councillor Ben Hooper, solemnly and sincerely declare and affirm that I will undertake the duties of the office of Councillor in the best interests of the people of Greater Hume Shire and the Greater Hume Council, and that I will faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in me under Local Government Act 1993 or any other act to the best of my ability and judgment.
Yep, you just need to sign. Both of you can sign that one, that'd be fantastic. Wonderful, thank you very much. And the next person I'd like to invite is Councillor Matthew Hicks to swear the oath or affirmation.
I, Councillor Matthew Hicks, solemnly and sincerely declare and affirm that I will undertake the duties of the office of councillor in the best interests of the people of Greater Hume Shire and the Greater Hume Council, and that I will faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in me under the Local Government Act 1993 or any other act to the best of my ability and judgment.
Fantastic. And then I'd like to invite Councillor Ashley Lidner.
I, Councillor Ashley Lidner, swear that I will undertake the duties of the office of councillor in the best interests of the people of Greater Hume Shire and the Greater Hume Council, and that I will faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in me under the Local Government Act 1993 or any other act to the best of my ability and judgment. I've got a pen first.
Thank you. I'd like to now invite Councillor Jenny O'Neill. Oath or affirmation.
I, Councillor Jenny O'Neill, solemnly and sincerely declare and affirm that I will undertake the duties of the office of councillor in the best interests of the people of Greater Hume Shire and the Greater Hume Council, and that I will faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in me under the Local Government Act 1993 or any other act to the best of my ability and judgment.
Thank you. I'd like to now invite Councillor Lee Parker to do her oath or affirmation.
I, Councillor Lee Parker, solemnly and sincerely declare and affirm that I will undertake the duties of office of council in the best interest of the people of Greater Hume Shire and the Greater Hume Council, and that I will faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, and authorities and discretions vested in me under the Local Government Act 1993 or any other act to the best of my ability and judgment.
Thank you very much. I'd now like to invite Councillor Tony Quinn to perform his oath of affirmation.
I, Councillor Tony Quinn, swear that I will undertake the duties of the office of council in the best interests of the people of Greater Hume Shire and the Greater Hume Council, and that I will faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities, and directions vested in me under the Local Government Act 1993 or any other act to the best of my ability and judgment.
Thank you. And I'd now like to invite Councillor Kerry Morton to take her oath of affirmation.
I, Councillor Kerry Morton, solemnly and sincerely declare and affirm that I will undertake the duties of office of councillor in the best interests of the people of Greater Hume Shire and the Greater Hume Council, and that I will faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers and authorities and discretions vested in me under the Local Government Act 1993 or any other act to the best of my ability and judgment.
Thank you. I'd now like to invite Councillor Mitchell to take her oath of affirmation with or without as many ands as you'd like.
I, Councillor Annette Shield, swear that I will undertake the duties of the office of councillor in the best interests of the people of Greater Hume Shire and the Greater Hume Council, and that I will faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in me under the Local Act 1993, Local Government Act 1993, or any other act to the best of my ability and judgment.
Last but not least, Councillor Brian Liston to take the oath of affirmation.
I, Councillor Brian Liston, swear that I will undertake the duties of the office of councillor in the best interests of the people of Greater Hume Shire and the Greater Hume Council, and that I will faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in me under the Local Government Act 1993 or any other act to the best of my ability and judgment. Be glad I wasn't.
Thank you very much. So we'll now record in the minutes that all the councillors took the oath of affirmation and took that before King China as Justice of the Peace. So congratulations, and I think that all deserves a bit of a round of applause. Right, so the next thing that I now need to preside over is the election of mayor. So I currently have 2 nominations for mayor. Are there any other nominations for mayor? So I have Councillor Tony Quinn, who has accepted the nomination for mayor, Councillor Quinn, and Councillor Lee Parker, who has accepted the nomination for mayor. So just now forced me to ask whether you would like to do this ballot as a paper ballot or a show of hands.
Let's go with the paper ballot. I think that'd be fair at the outset.
I don't mind showing hands.
Show of hands.
Yeah.
Okay, so if everyone is happy, we'll go with a show of hands. So then I will ask those councillors who wish to support Lee Parker for mayor to show their hands. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I need you to report those votes for me. So perhaps if you could just hold your hands up again for me, that would be fantastic. So Councillor Ben Hooper, Councillor Lee Parker, Councillor Kerry Morton, Councillor Brian Liston and Councillor Jenny O'Neill, who have supported Councillor Parker as mayor. That being 5 votes, that is I will now go on to the next one, which is the election for deputy mayor. And I have 3 nominations for the election of deputy mayor. I have Councillor Annette Shield, Councillor Ben Hooper, and Councillor Matt Hicks. So again, this one, because we have 3, it might be easier to perhaps do a ballot. But I'm in your hands as to which way you'd like to. Just go show of hands. Okay, well, I'll just call them out in the order that they are presented to me. So if those councillors could please raise their hands if they wish to have Annette Shield as deputy mayor. So we have one vote for Annette. Councillor Ben Hooper as deputy mayor. If you can show of hands. So we have Councillor Hooper, Parker, Morton, Liston and O'Neill. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that means that Councillor Hooper has the numbers there to be the deputy mayor. To the newly elected mayor to now preside over the rest of the meeting. I wondered, do you want to sit here?
Maybe.
Yes,
That's all right.
that would be absolutely fine. We'll just do a brief shuffle.
Sorry.
No, there's no problem.
Sorry.
The name plate.
Randy.
Put it in a second. That's right. So, congratulations.
Yeah.
So over to you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Very much. We now have to clear the stage, so I've done this here.
Right.
I don't know who has it.
Yes, actually, Councillor O'Neill, do you have a prayer?
We've got a copy now.
Oh, bless you. Could you lead us in prayer, please? Thank you.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for all your blessings. We ask for your strength and guidance throughout this meeting and thereafter as we look to serve the residents of this shire. We ask for clear thinking and clear hearts as we approach the business matters we will be discussing shortly. We ask for your blessings upon this meeting and each participant and the work and people they represent. Amen.
Thank you very much, Councillor O'Neill. Acknowledgement of country, and all the way back. I'm sorry. I would like to acknowledge that the meeting is being held on the lands of the traditional lands of the Wiradjuri people, and I pay my respects to elders past, present, and emerging. No Merrill minute, but I just would like to welcome newbies to council and re-elected people. And I'd also like to just acknowledge that Councillor Wilton and Councillor Meyer and Councillor Forrest, I wish them all the very best. In particular, the first 2 councillors, they've dedicated a lot of time to serving their communities. And I think it would be remiss of us to, not acknowledge that. I think between the 2 of them was like 50 years of service to their communities. And I think you'd all agree that that's a tremendous effort.
So through you, I've just noticed a slight error in your agenda. We need to then confirm the minutes of the previous meeting, which is on your list.
That's what I thought. That's why I had it at the beginning.
Yep, brilliant.
So can somebody confirm the minutes for the previous meeting? Councillor Hicks and Councillor Quinn, thank you. No amendments or anything? All good? Okay.
So just ask.
All in favour?
Sorry, Councillor, you need to show your.
Oh, sorry.
Otherwise, we assume you're voting against, which I didn't think you were. That's okay. So then we up to the first part A determination, which is the council meeting venues and meeting times.
Yep, okay. So officers report part A for determination governance. Item number 1, council meeting venues and meeting times. Is there a mover?
I'll second that.
Mover and seconder, Councillor Linda and Councillor Hicks. Is there any discussion? Any for or against?
Madam,
Oh,
there was this,
Councillor Shield.
the discussion that has, that it is proposed that the November to September 25 meetings be held at Holbrook, but I think that was meant to be Culcairn. That was in the discussion. That's not written in the recommendation.
In the November or the December meeting? Sorry, I think we normally have that.
Yes, I think, so through you, Mayor, we did change the table and we may not have changed the discussion to reflect that at the moment now we're recommending the majority of meetings happen in Culcairn. And so that is the recommendation, if that is what's, but clearly that could be changed if council feels that there's one other venues added.
Councillor Moulton.
I'd like to be able to spread the meetings around a little bit more, particularly because our North Ward people come from Henty, and the East Ward are pretty well all over, and we have George for Sabina. I'd like to have them mixed around a little bit so that we have opportunity for the community to attend. I think community attendance is important, and if they can see that we are doing work in their town and turning up in their town, then I think that we would be more likely to have that interface and opportunity to welcome.
Yeah.
I'll speak against that.
Sure.
I think this is the best option because we've invested heavily here in Culcairn. It's the centre of the Shire. Previously, we've travelled out around and we've had nothing but tech issues, and there's been a number of meetings we've gone and nobody from the community has turned up. So I would just suggest that if there's a big issue for that community, perhaps we could consider the prior meeting moving to that area. But I believe that we're better off being positioned here in Culcairn, which is the actual council chamber. We don't have to have the issue of the council officers carrying all the gear around to try and get on the internet because it's mandatory that it's telecast. And we find that when we get out and around, it's not very satisfactory. So I personally think we need to focus here at Culcairn for the reason of it being the centre of the Shire and also that we have invested heavily in the room here. So that's my opinion.
Any other discussion? Councillor Moulton.
I suggest then from time to time, we could go to each community at least for one meeting a year to give them the opportunity. If people know that it's coming to their town, it might be an opportunity for them to engage.
Any other discussion?
I think it's Madam Mayor that the travelling costs is essential. Eddie come here, I will come here, I come here, Jimmy come here, the cost all just balance out, it's fairly low traffic costs. We go to Lincoln's Creek, the big cost. The dollars are not going to be available, state or federal government like they were. Just a little economic exercise.
Councillor Hooper.
I was just going to say, just in reference to numbers not attending the meetings, I know in the past there's been meetings in my hometown of Henty and I wasn't made aware of those. The advocacy of that meeting wasn't present enough in the community. So I think that they are to move around, which I'd be supportive of. I think we've got an obligation to our community to be present. And I think that part of having those meetings in other towns, there's also an emphasis on promoting those meetings to ensure that we get the numbers there.
So is there an amendment to the resolution, the recommendation, or is there not? I'm asking for, so in your hands.
I think put that up. If it gets lost, then I'll come up with something
Okay,
else. So,
rightio. So we'll put the recommendation that everything is going to be in Culcairn with the exception of the March meeting in Gindra and the December meeting in Holbrook. All those in favour of the recommendation? So Councillor Shield, Councillor Linda, Councillor O'Neill, Councillor Hicks and Councillor Quinn. So that,
and Councillor Morton, oh,
sorry.
Yeah.
Yep. Sorry.
so sorry,
put the hands up again. Who
Yeah.
voted for it?
Sorry. Councillor Shield, Councillor Morton, Councillor Linda, Councillor O'Neill, Councillor Hicks and Councillor Quinn.
you need to also,
Yeah, I'm
against?
yes, thank you.
Okay, so how many do we get? That carried?
That's carried.
Beautiful, okay.
That's six.
That's all right.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And councillor Hooper was
Against. Councillor Hooper, Councillor Liston and Councillor Parker were against.
So just to be clear at this point, this recommendation is now being passed. Okay.
Yes, correct.
I think possibly just for clarification, it is possible for us to change meeting venues during the year. So this is just allowing us to put this in place as a calendar for the year. But if there is a wish or a will from a councillor or councillors to change the meeting venue, we can do that. So this is just sort of setting that foundation.
Correct.
So we can revisit it.
Mm-hmm. Item 2, appointments of delegates.
I move we suspend standing orders for this.
I'll second that.
And thank you, Councillor O'Neill and Councillor Hicks.
Councillor O'Neill and Councillor Hicks have just suspended standing orders. So for our councillors that may not be aware, what this now allows us to do is a more open discussion without the standing orders that are required in the meeting code of meeting practice. So this allows us to discuss, or councillors to discuss, who they would like to have at each of the delegates. At this juncture, as I have interrupted, I do have 4 nominations for the 2 Riverina Water places. So when we get to that one, we'll need to do a thing with that.
Yeah. So Australia Day Committee, and that usually we try and make sure that we spread across the 3 wards, make sure that each ward is represented. So I call for nominations for the Australia Day Committee, please. Councillor Quinn, Councillor Morton, Councillor Liston, Councillor O'Neill. That's 4. That's correct, isn't it?
Yep, that's great. Yep.
Yep.
It's good. Yep.
And Sonia, you're happy with that?
Yeah, we've got those minutes.
Yep.
Can you actually, perhaps if you want to update that table, sorry, just
You're
while we
right.
work
Yep.
ourselves through this.
Yep.
And then we can do standing orders and move the motion, but that'll at least allow us to keep them.
Sure. Yep.
So you've got those names there, Sonia, beautiful.
Beautiful.
Yep.
General Manager's Performance Review Committee. So it'll be the Mayor and the Deputy Mayor, and there's one other councillor. Who would like to nominate for that?
Hold on, I'd actually go on that. I think he'd be here.
Councillor Linda?
I'd like to go on that too, so make sure.
Okay, so that means that we have to now have an election, is that right?
Yes, we would have to have an election for that. Or unless the one councillor is prepared to step back, then we will have to have an election for that nomination.
Sorry, and you get to nominate someone.
I do, but at this stage, I decided not to exercise that particular option. So I think just 3 will probably be good.
So I'll have to ask for a vote.
I think that's probably the best way.
So Councillor Linda, you put your hand up first, or were nominated first. So we're all in favour of Councillor Linda being on the General Manager's Performance Review. Councillor Shield, Councillor Linda, Councillor Hicks, Councillor Quinn, that's 4. All those in favour of Councillor Morton being on that performance review. Councillor O'Neill, Councillor Liston, Councillor Morton, Councillor Hooper and myself. So well done. Councillor Morton? No, we don't have to do this.
No, that one's gone.
Okay.
So the next one is the observer.
Yep.
Or the audit and
So
risk.
the Audit and Risk and Improvement Committee, I've had the pleasure of being on that committee for, I think, about 3 years. I find it very interesting if you like numbers. But I'll take some nominations from the floor. Anyone? Don't be so excited.
Can't observe, so it's-
Councillor.
It is, we can't vote any longer. So that's disappointing. Can I
Would you
nominate?
like to continue, councillor?
I would like to continue. I really do actually
Yep,
enjoy
absolutely
it.
can.
Is that all right?
Yep, absolutely, yeah.
Okay, all those in favour? Thank you. Local Emergency Management Committee. So Director of Engineering, be on there, but we need an observer.
So I'm not certain.
No,
what-
you
No,
don't.
I don't. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
I'm sorry. The next one?
Yep.
Local Traffic Committee, Director of Engineering, and all councillors are to be advised when the meetings are held.
That's how you want us to do it. That's what everyone wants to.
I think that that's fair. You actually go to
Yeah,
those, don't you?
Well, last year it must have been a specific council. Doesn't matter.
No.
Anyway,
It's always been
I
the
like
case.
going.
Come along, yeah. Councillor.
Councillor O'Neill.
So we can put councillor.
I think so.
Yep, that's fine.
Next is the Murray Arts Advisory Committee. Any take it?
Oh.
Councillor Hooper? Perfect. Anyone else want to put their hand up for that role?
Going to, but no, I'll let councillor Hooper.
Very good. Next one is the Riverina Eastern Regional Organisation of Councils. So that's just the mayor and the general manager.
Correct.
The next one is the Riverina Regional Library, which is the general manager. And would you like to do that, councillor Shield? Anyone else? No, that's good. Joe, Riverina Joint Organisation is usually just the mayor or deputy mayor and yourself.
Yep.
Riverina Water County Council, over to you.
Right, okay, so now I have 4 nominations for 2 places on Riverina Water. So again, we could do a show of hands for each nomination.
Can I just ask a question about that? Is it a requirement that you actually live where the water is?
Not that I'm aware of, no, because you're representing Greater Hume. So as long as you're a councillor on Greater Hume Council, you are able to be representative on the board. So again, in random order, I have the first one on my list here is Brian Liston has nominated himself to be on the Riverina board. So I'll ask for a show of hands to see who is supporting Brian. Okay, so that one's through. The next one I have is Councillor Tony Quinn. So I'd like I ask for a show of hands of who would support Councillor Quinn to be on Riverina Water.
Hicks, Quinn and Linda.
Yep. 3. I then have Councillor Hicks as the nomination to be the second place on Riverina Water. So if we have a show of hands of who's supporting Councillor Hicks.
Linda, Quinn, Hicks and Shilk.
Yep. And last but not least, Councillor Parker as to who would nominate, support Councillor Parker's nomination for Riverina Water.
Hooper, Morton, Liston, O'Neill, Parker.
Okay, so that means that once we resume standing orders, we will have Councillor Parker and Councillor Liston as the representatives appointed to Riverina Water County Council. Okay, do we need to, we're having a little committee meeting at the end of the. But you have to have 5 as a majority. So please, if I haven't got that right.
That's right.
You know.
On that.
Okay, good. It's always good to just pause to make certain we've got things clear. Okay.
Rural Fire Service Bushfire Management Committee. Anyone like to nominate for that? Councillor Hicks, that's right up your alley.
I don't know, is it? Oh, well, if no one else wants to do it, I suppose I'll go on.
and the Softwoods Working Group, which is a fairly important part of,
Mind that.
Council Liston. Anyone else like to put their hand up for it? No? It's all yours, Council Liston.
So now, so you understand me, we just resume standing
Resume
orders?
standing orders.
Yeah.
Can I have a mover and a seconder, please?
I'll move.
Oh, thank you. Councillor Shield and Councillor Hicks. Thank you very much. And then move the recommendation.
Beautiful.
So can we have a mover and seconder for the recommendation for all those delegates, please? Thank you, Mr. Councillor Quinn and Councillor Lindner. Item 3, casual councillor vacancies, consideration for account back method.
I'll move the recommendation.
Thank you.
Makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, Councillor Hicks and Councillor Lindner.
I have a question.
Yes.
What is the definition of casual?
Please.
So the purpose of this resolution is that if we have someone, if we have a councillor leave during their term, that's considered to be a casual vacancy as opposed to a vacancy that happens at the end of an electoral term. And this allows us to have a count back. If we don't have this resolution, we have to run a by-election. So this is a much more efficient way, should that, in an unlikely event that occurs, to allow for the next person in the list, so to speak. There is a process, as you understand, with countbacks, but and clearly it only applies in the wards where we've had elections. So if we had a casual vacancy in East Ward, that would require a by-election because that was an uncontested ward.
Oh, right. Okay, that's good clarification. Does everyone understand that? Are you all happy with that? All those in favour? All in favour? Item 4, Local Government New South Wales Conference, Sunday the 16th of November to Tuesday the 18th of November. I think the recommendation is that the Mayor and Deputy Mayor go, and that one other councillor is to come along with the General Manager and the Mayor and Deputy Mayor. Is anyone interested in coming along to the Local Government Conference?
Which one of the new ones to experience?
Typically, I think through Madam Mayor, we do try and take in a councillor that hasn't been before.
Yes. Yes, correct. Councillor Liston or Morton.
Bad weekend, that one.
It's a bad weekend. Cardio. That's okay. Councillor Linda, have you been before?
Sunday.
You have.
So we leave on the Saturday to get there on the Sunday to be there for the Monday, Tuesday, and then come back on the Wednesday. Just to clarify, when you're trying to organise your calendars.
Anyone else interested? No.
Look, at this stage, we've only put in a placeholder for a booking and accommodation, which we are able to change.
Yeah.
So if we didn't have another delegate, we can make that change if no councillor wishes to go. Okay.
Radio. So we'll just leave the recommendation that no one else, it's not being filled at this point in time.
Yep.
Is someone happy to move that and second it? Thank you.
We leave that vacant
Councillor
for the
Hooper.
time being.
Yep. All in favour? Thank you. Engineering, item number 1, report for Environmental Protection Agency clean-up notice.
I would like to suggest that we suspend standing orders.
Let me do have a
Find out
seconder.
more information.
Sure. Seconder. Councillor Hooper. Certainly.
Standing orders.
Yes. Floor is open to you.
When
I know we've moved the recommendation yet. That should be done first, shouldn't it?
Should it be? Sorry.
We need to move it.
Sorry.
Order. Should have been
Sorry.
moved and then suspended standing order.
Sorry. Okay.
Mayor, I'll speak against the motion. There is a very thorough report in front of us. If people haven't read it, it's their problem sort of thing, but
Can we have a mover and seconder first, councillor Quinn? Sorry. Sorry.
Just to suspend standing orders.
Councillor Linda and councillor Shield. Thank you. Now, can we suspend standing orders? Is that what you would like to do?
But we do have a mover and a seconder to suspend standing orders, but we haven't voted on that part of it yet.
Okay.
So, are councillors in favour of suspending?
Is everyone in favour of suspending orders? Councillor O'Neill, councillor Liston, councillor Morton, councillor Hooper, and myself.
So yes, suspending and standing orders.
Okay, noted.
5 against. 5-4 and.
Noted, councillor Quinn.
In the minutes.
Definitely.
I'll just check that we've got that. Have we got? So can I just have a show of hands for those against suspending standing orders?
Quinn, Hicks, Linda, and Shield.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Just to make sure that we've got that correct.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So all standing orders are suspended.
Okay. Floor is yours, councillor O'Neill.
Thank you. Well, hopefully there'll be some other questions from other people. Yeah, we didn't actually get a full costing. It's sort of been estimated costs of what all this work's going to be. And so, you know, probably like to have seen that we had some more definite costs. We have been told that it's coming out of the reserves. So do we have a cost of all the movements of the trucks that are going to be transporting this fill to Walla?
Sorry, yeah, in regards to the movement of the material from Funksfit to Walla, yes, we've determined the quantity of trucks that are needed to cart the material from Funksfit to the Walla benefit. That has been calculated based on the volume and the time of shipping. So that's what the $200,000 has been costing on, based on equipment needed at the site, being an excavator and a loader at Funksfit, as well as an excavator loader at Walla landfill. So we progressively move it over a 3-week period and screen it once it's live and gets pushed over off the Walla landfill to rehabilitate the site.
So did we have to get a tender for that movement, or?
What we did is we put out a vendor panel for plant and machinery, which was done, and we've got rates for from the trucking companies and rates for also the excavator motors. And that's what's been calculated for.
So would that normally, if we weren't in caretaker mode, have come to a council meeting?
The BP wouldn't have, no. Because it's a BP, it's a schedule of rates, and there's multiple contractors using. It's not like a specific contract goes to one person greater than 250,000, which has to come against the tender. It's not like that.
Do we have any issue with the DA being approved by council because it's for council?
I might just hand over to Colin. Council has it has a conflict of interest there's a conflict of interest policy that relates to development applications that involve council, as council as the applicant, and the development applications being assessed in accordance with that policy. So that essentially means that council has prepared the development application, but the assessment of the development application happened by an external planner, and one has been engaged, and subject to his recommendation, then the application could be approved. So yeah, I think if the actual assessment of the application aligns with policy.
Is that going to take a long time to do?
It wouldn't. Well, the policy applies to most applications that council makes on its own behalf. I think it'd be only negligible if it's a little bit of extra time for that external consultant to do the role that council might have done for itself. So it shouldn't take much longer, any additional time, council.
More questions,
Yeah.
councillor Liston?
I suppose this is all new to me. It just seems to be a lot of money to move something that sounds like it shouldn't be there. Did all this come from somewhere within the Shire? Is it?
The original material came from a development site in Albury, and we specifically carted it to do the Funksfit rehabilitation. While it was transferred to a site on Hawthorne Road, we believe it got contaminated with some on-site material there. And from there, it was taken up to the site for where it was used, and the landowner was a bit unhappy with some remnant materials that was in there. We advised it was a minor amount. Obviously, the EPA got involved, clean-up notice was involved. We had it assessed, and because even a minor amount was determined as waste, but we proved we could screen it out. We wanted to screen it on site, at the site and use it there. The landowner wasn't happy. The EPA came back and said, yes, it can be done, but it's possibly got flea vein infestation into the material. We believe we can manage the flea vein on site, do it all the time, but that wasn't acceptable. So the EPA said, no, the clean-up note stands. So we take it to our site, which we take to Waller, which is why taking Waller rather than disposing of the material. We know we can screen the material and meet our requirement, and we can manage the flea vein by planting out and by mulching the surface. And Waller landfill needs to be rehabilitated. It was never finished after it was closed in 2009 after fire. So it was an opportune time, rather than carting this material away to cost us somewhere, it was a way to reutilise something that we have to do anyway. We have to rehabilitate that landfill, and this is just an opportunity to do that. And that is why we've chosen the most cost-effective way to do that.
Couldn't be screened on the site.
We said it could be screened on the site. The landowner wasn't happy for it to happen, and the EPA in the end said there was a risk, be it whatever it was, they would not allow us to screen it on site. We requested, we actually did trial screening and proved it could be done, but it was decided by the EPA that it wasn't acceptable. That's why we'll now screen it at the Waller landfill. And the remnants of what we take out of that will be taken to the Colcam landfill, being a small quantity of whatever will be, somewhere between 50 and a few hundred tonnes. So that will be taken to Colcam to be disposed. The rest of it will be clean material that will be used for rehabilitation.
Councillor Morton.
Obviously, if you're taking stuff out of the Funks Road, what do you plan to replace it with, and at what cost is the replacement of that fill?
The replacement cost is what I've indicated there is between $200,000 and $300,000. We're removing it out because I guess we've got a time frame on clean-up notice. That's absolutely fine to do that. Once we put that out of the way, we are looking at obtaining other material to take on site. And this time, which we didn't do the first time, which is obviously going in error, we will be testing prior to taking it on site. You've got to meet, think me if I'm wrong, Colin, what's the national?
It has to be virgin excavated natural material. It's certain criteria that the EPA specify. Has to be tested to meet those standards.
That's another question. What's stopping the EPA from objecting to you moving the contaminated material to the Waller site? And how long do you expect to take consultation and from the community, Waller Gerontry, who I know are still very affected by that issue? How long are you expecting that process to take, and are the EPA going to be involved in testing it when it gets on site to make sure, so you can assure the community?
Yeah.
Just maybe say it's not contaminated with any chemical, it's just contaminated.
Yeah, I've read your report. Thank you. Thank you.
The issue is we've already spoken to the EPA, and they're quite comfortable we can screen it and meet the requirement because we've proven it with trial screening materials. With regard to them burning it, they've already issued with us an extension of time. Their advisors, they've already said we're quite happy with what you're doing, because obviously it was a question that we have to, as part of this, reopen the landfill because it's not actually open, and to take material to do that had to go. And and EPA are the controlling body of that, and they have come back to us and said, as long as you get a DA approved, which obviously going through the process to get DA approved, they are very happy with it. We've had correspondence with them; they're very supportive of it, and they see themselves there's no issue. There was obviously just a concern by the landowner about the flea vein.
Be that as it's may, Mr. Blackie, we have, being a landowner myself and looking at the council's policy on contaminated rehabilitation of contaminated waste or somebody else who puts DA in, if the council needs to go by its own policy, then that would be a conflict. My other issue is that there is no more letters from the EPA post the 25th of June. Do we have any more documentation with the further extensions and the agreement that you can move this material to Walla?
Yes, I have an email that has been forwarded to myself. That was done after the agenda was done. And they've sent us the new notice, which they just asked us to have a look at the conditions prior to issuing that notice to us. But they said there's not a problem with extension of time. And we just haven't got that notice yet. We expect to have the notice once we've got back to them early next week.
Yeah.
But so in regard that they've given us support of what we're doing, because to do what we need to do for the Walla landfill, we had to ask them upfront, because until they gave us approval to reopen the landfill for the specific situation, we didn't even think about doing this.
So they have given you approval?
So they've given us approval as long as we
Can
get.
you give us documentation for that, please?
I can send you an email that I received them. But they support us on the process in that regard. When we discussed it with them, they're quite supportive of it, because they know that what the outcome will be, and it's the advantage also to allow us rehabilitation, that Walla landfill that's on their books as well, that needs to be rehabilitated or remediated.
Councillor Hooper.
It sounds like you've built a good working relationship with the EPA, which is great. My only concern is you mentioned that initially they refused your remediation to remain on site, and now the report says that you can satisfactorily remediate the material, make it compliant to go into the Walla. So if they certified that, show. Have you got that in writing? Or
in regard to it, I've got correspondence from the EPA. They're quite comfortable. So they said mainly they were concerned that the landowner was putting to them, that the landowner was the one at risk. They were worried. The landowner wasn't comfortable. We're the landowner of the Walla landfill, and we know we can remediate that appropriately and manage it, which we knew we could do the other side, but anyway, they were supporting the landowner in what they're doing.
So perhaps through you, just a point of clarification. So the Funks pit, because the EPA considered the rock in that fill to be waste, it then designated that that was waste that had been put into a site that wasn't approved to accept waste. And that was the fundamental point of contention that we needed to establish. By removing that and taking it to a landfill that is approved to accept waste, we are then just going through a process of separating the waste from the fill to be able to essentially refill and rehabilitate the landfill, and then reuse any of the material that is clean, for want of a better description. So that process, the fundamental concern from the EPA and the landowner was that they considered the fill we used to be waste, and the site was not approved to accept waste. So that's the point of distinction that allows us to use the Walla landfills and potentially other landfills in Greater Hume should we need to.
I'll move we go back to
Discussion?
standing orders, I think. Plenty of discussion.
So moved.
Second.
Second by councillor O'Neill.
So that's good to go back to standing orders.
Yep.
Everyone's in.
All in favour? Sorry.
Are you in favour of going back out of standing? Okay, yes, we're all in favour. Fantastic. So now we go back to the original recommendation.
So the recommendation is there on page 20 of 23.
I'd like to move the recommendation with the addition of a fourth part. And the fourth part says to refer.
Amendment.
Oh, no, we haven't moved the.
We've moved the recommendation.
We did.
The
Yeah.
recommendation is moved, and that's when it's there to react to.
So you need to move an amendment to the.
Before we had actually moved.
No,
It has
went
nothing to
back.
suspend to.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did go back. Yes.
So you're moving an amendment?
Yeah, the amendment would be the recommendation plus the fourth point, which is to refer all aspects of the clean-up notices issued by the EPA and management's response to date to Council's Audit Risk and Improvement Committee, and an independent external investigation be undertaken by a suitably qualified audit provider as a matter of urgency.
Do we have a seconder for that motion? Councillor Morton.
So perhaps if I could just clarify what we were investigating.
To look at the whole financial aspect of the whole thing that's been going on now for 2 years.
So you're looking
To
to
the
spend more
Eric.
money to get an outside
No, from
person.
Eric, yeah. But
I just said that
Eric might say, okay, we can look at this without going.
I think with all due respect, I think the issue is that we've already spent $417,000 on something that was rehabilitated, and now been asked to spend $530,000 extra of ratepayers' money. And we have a very new council, and I think that we need the documentation to make an informed decision.
Well, the decision's been made by the EPA that you've got a clean-up notice that's been issued. If you don't go with that, you're going to end up with more than that in a fine.
Well,
The intention is to go ahead with it.
But it sounded like the mayor
as
was
a
indicating that she doesn't want to go ahead with it.
I do need to clarify that I have a lawful requirement to follow the clean-up notice.
certainly.
And so it would be, it may not be lawful to direct me not to spend money to follow a clean-up notice, because it is a lawful direction that I must follow.
My amendment says to go ahead and do it.
No, I appreciate that. I'm just clarifying the concern that the mayor has
The mayor's
raised.
statement indicated to us, or indicated to me, that she doesn't believe we should go ahead with the job.
So I
I'm
really,
concerned about spending $530,000 in addition to the money that we've already spent without clarification of some issues. There are issues.
Yes, but clarification of issues currently with this current situation is not going to help the job. We need to get on, get it fixed.
We needed to have a
Indeed, you can
report
have to-
come to council. We needed a report come to council with all the costings, and that hasn't been done. That's my point. That's it. Full stop. Full stop. No other explanation. That we haven't had the proper costings for, and in particular for the new councillors. It's very unfair to expect people just to come on in. It's a very complex issue. I understand that, Madam GM. But I really think that we need to be open and transparent and looking at, all these issues that we have.
so perhaps if you could just clarify the amendment. No, that's okay. So all aspects of the clean-up notice from the EPA be referred to the ERIC committee. So the ERIC, I'm just concerned because the ERIC committee won't do an external investigation, so that
We'll take that part off, yeah.
but what we could do, perhaps
Internally, they could, I suppose.
well, they could provide a recommendation.
So Eric already been monitoring us for EPA, so that's
It's already there.
we have to declare any risks. So it's already been declared, it's been for the last 2 years, ever.
Yes, it has. So perhaps, but to the mayor's point about wanting to have more information about the budget, if we're able to, to be honest, we really need to have this allocation tonight to be able to continue with the clean-up notice. Otherwise, it puts us at a severe risk in terms of our abilities to comply with the notice. But possibly a further point about a full costing report to come back to council, potentially as part of the quarterly budget review that we're going to be doing next month.
Just concerned that a non-budgeted item doesn't have, without those clear costings, how much contingency has been scheduled into these fees? Like,
In regard to it, there's obviously our standard 10% contingency. In relation to the completion of the rehabilitation of the unfit means carton and new material, that hasn't been costed because we've not yet determined the location of the material we're going to bring to that yet. It's been an estimated cost, and we've got options we are looking through at the moment, but it's an estimated cost to do that 200 to 300. So that's why it's allocated there to do it. And we do have reserves for these specific circumstances to do these rehabilitations of the landfills and of the gravel pits that we do own. So it's not like it's uncommitted funds. It is funds that we have locked into our reserves to do this work. So it's not like additional funds at all. It's just, however, but I'll just finish, Councillor, but in regard to it, until we have the detail of what we're doing for the next stage of the funds bit rebate. We can't cost it yet, and that's where we can't provide that. We're best come up with that, but that's still an assumption, and it was always going to be brought back to council once we've done further work on that. But the main issue is we need to meet the conditions of the clean-up notice, and that's what we're trying to do with this report at the moment, is meet the conditions of that. Otherwise, yes, there's liabilities and fines associated.
Understand that. So my next question I was going to ask is, so with the rehabilitation of Funks Road, is there a timing indicated for that? Because we've got the figures there of 200,000 to 300,000, and I understand the clean-up notice is the 20th of December. So that has to happen before the 20th. What about the rehabilitation? Is there any orders on that as to when
There's
that?
no orders on that. Specifically, the clean-up notice only relates to material that's there to get rid of. Beyond that, there are no associations with the effect after that. The only condition is we have to meet the DA requirements of the pit. That is an Albury City requirement because it's a pit within Albury City Council. So we have DA requirements, and we've got a legal agreement with the landowner to meet the requirements of the rehabilitation that was agreed to. They're the one. The time frame, there is no set time frame because we need to deal with this issue first.
Yes, more comment. The funding that was already set aside in our budget some time ago when we first were notified rehabilitation would need to be done on any of those pits, that still has some funds.
Yeah, it had enough to because like originally what our plan was when there was an issue with supposedly contaminated material was we were going to screen on site, which is quite a simple task to do, which wouldn't cost a huge amount of money. And there's adequate funds to still do that on site and then obviously finish off planting. Obviously, because now we have to remove it, that's where we didn't have the funds available. And so that's why now we're asking for additional funds because we've got to move material off and bring material in. That's the big cost. The screening, we were at the process because originally I think it was a report went to council about 3 years ago saying it was about $500,000 and we'd spent most of that doing it, but we had about $50,000 left to go, and that's where it would cost us probably screen at $30,000. And that was our plan. The plan was to that, then do a bit of planting, we'd have finished the job, but obviously that has not obviously occurred now. We need to deal with the removal of material. We're removing it, and that's the cost associated with it. And the estimated cost to bring in an equivalent amount of material that has been designated clean. And
that provides a great deal of clarity. Thank you. So my question to you now is then, can we not, rather than commit 530,000, can we not commit the money that's required legally for the cleanup and the remediation of the Walla landfill, which would be about 230,000 looking at this report, as opposed to 530 until we come to a determination with some clearer figures of that?
Absolutely. If council just wants to commit the funds we believe we need for the clean-up notice, that certainly can amend the report or amend the recommendation to reflect that, and then have further information come back to council on the rehabilitation. So just so we go back to process, so at the moment we've got an amendment for which we haven't moved or seconded. We have a motion that has been moved and seconded. So we do have the option of if the mover and seconder are happy, we could include that amendment and change the dollar value as an amended motion, as long as the mover and seconder are.
Are you happy with that, Councillor O'Neill?
So just to, who else was the? It was Councillor Hicks.
No.
Linda. So the original, So the original mover and seconder was
Linda and Shulk.
So are we happy as mover and seconder
That we alter that amount.
That we put in a 0.4.
So 0.4 is that we report to the ARIC, and that.
Can I just, with the comment from the Director of Corporate and Community a few minutes ago, ARIC are already aware, so do you still need that statement in there? Because you're already.
Include these specific notices. I think that's what that point was more about, is a correspondence.
So I think so.
That's not an issue for us.
They're aware of what's happening anyway.
Yeah, exactly right. So there's no problem So again, if the mover and seconder are happy, we're going to include amendment number 4.
Sorry, is that right?
I was just going to change
Okay. that's
change
fine.
the amount allocated to, what did we say? We wanted
230,000, is that
200.
correct, councillor Hooper?
According to the report, yes, that's correct.
So we can just use that as part of that amendment to change that amount there, Sonia, to 230, where it says 530 above 0.3.
0.3.
Actually, why don't we just put 0.3 again, because that will be clearer, with the amended amount. So now the motion will read that we're endorsing the proposal, endorsing the screening. The amount allocated will be 230,000, and there's a 0.4 about all aspects of the clean-up notice referred to the area.
And a report will come back to council with a itemised.
Yep.
So, sorry, Madam Mayor, then you need to probably change item 3 because.
Yes, we are.
The funds bit, you don't take the bit out.
We do.
Yep. So why don't we change that amount, that point completely? I think it'll be clearer. So we're going to amend 0.3. That says allocate 230,000 from council's gravel pit and landfill remediation reserves to complete the
order.
To comply with the EPA cleanup notice. Is that happy with that wording? As opposed to complete the funks pit rehabilitation and landfill remediation projects.
Yeah, you can't have the funks pit rehabilitation, take it again.
So it would
Because
just.
you won't complete that. That's what
No.
I'm saying. You're only.
So we will now read that just to comply with the EPA cleanup. So we'll just allow our minute taker to type furiously and catch up with that. And then if everyone's happy, we can put that to the vote as the amendment and then put it as the resolution. Okay, so we've now got a 0.4 that says all aspects and a 0.3, the amount allocated 230,000 from council's gravel pit and rehabilitation reserve to comply with the EPA cleanup notice. Does that capture what we wanted to have?
We've got a mover and a seconder. We're going to vote on
the amendment.
All in favour? Councillor Quinn, Councillor Hicks,
yes,
everyone. Sorry, everyone.
No, that's right. And so now we need that to become the motion. Yes, the motion.
Yep.
And so we essentially, all we really need is a mover and seconder to do it again, and then we'll catch up with it.
Mover and seconder. So Councillor O'Neill and Councillor Hooper.
Beautiful.
All in favour? Thank you. That was a bit heavy for first meeting.
No, these are important things. Get away through. Okay, it does get easier now. Hopefully.
Part C, items for information governance, a Christmas and New Year office closure period.
I'll second that.
Thanks. Councillor Quinn and Councillor Hicks.
Yep, that's it. That's just your lecture. Yep. So we've got, you had to put that one to the vote though, I think.
Oh, do I? All in favour? Sorry.
Beautiful. Okay.
All in favour.
And now you can, we're almost at the, we're at the end unless there's anything else.
Thank you for attending tonight's meeting and sorry.
I'd already made some plans to go up north, so I might seek leave of absence for the November, but depends on what date it is, et cetera.
Certainly. Yep. Certainly.
Can I just finish with a good news story?
Yes.
So the president of the Wurundjeri Show Society rang me last night to say that they were so happy with the council's investment in the asphalting around the footy ground and the car park. And for the first time ever, they opened windows without everything filling up with dust. So they said, thank you very much, Greater Hume Council, for the support.
Thank you, Councillor. Okay, that's it. Meeting closed at 7:03. Thank you for attending, everyone. Okay.